Excellence is not an event, it's a lifestyle. It's not about a single moment of greatness, it's about the quiet decisions you make every day, the small choices, the consistent habits, the standards you hold yourself to when no one's watching. That's where real excellence is built. Most people believe success is about talent or luck. They think those at the top had a head start, a gift, a better background, an advantage. But that's not the truth. The ones who rise to the top and stay there are the ones who have mastered the art of daily excellence. Because success is not built in a day, it's built in the invisible hours, in the early mornings, the late nights, the extra effort no one applauds, the decision to show up when you don't feel like it, to push through resistance, to stick to the process. Excellence isn't a feeling. It's not something you chase. It's something you become, through action, through discipline, through repetition. And here's the truth most people miss. Excellence isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. It's not about doing it right every time. It's about showing up every time. It's about having a standard for yourself that is non-negotiable. A mindset that says, I don't lower my standards to match the world. I raise them to shape it. When you develop the habit of daily excellence, success stops being something you pursue and starts becoming something you attract. You stop relying on motivation. You start running on discipline. You stop waiting for the right moment. You create momentum through consistent action. And the real question becomes, how do you build that mindset? How do you hardwire the habits, systems, and standards that create excellence every single day? That's what we're about to break down. Not theory, not vague inspiration, but real-world habits that rewire your mind, sharpen your focus, and elevate your performance. Because excellence is not a destination. It's not a result. It's a way of being. And once you learn how to master it, every single day, you won't need to compete with the crowd. You'll stand above it. Let's begin. The first habit of daily excellence is mastering your mornings. Because the way you start your day is the way you live your day. If you begin reactive, hitting snooze, checking your phone, rushing, you're already behind. You've handed control to the world before you've taken command of yourself. But if you start with intention, discipline, focus, and clarity, those qualities echo into everything else you do. Top performers don't leave mornings to chance. They don't stumble into their day. They design it and own it. Before the world wakes up, before the emails, the noise, the requests, they've already won their first battle, themselves. Some journal, some move their body, some pray, some breathe, some speak affirmations out loud like declarations of war. The method varies, but the principle is always the same. The first 10 minutes of your day control the other 1,430. It's not just about waking up early, it's about how you wake up. The moment you hit snooze, you're not just delaying your alarm, you're delaying your life. You're teaching your mind that comfort beats commitment, that a promise to yourself can be broken just because it's hard. But when you rise without hesitation, you build something most people will never understand. Instant execution. That becomes your edge. That becomes your identity. You don't wait to feel ready. You move. You act. You show up because it's who you are. Even 10 minutes of focused intention in the morning can change the trajectory of your entire day. Why? Because excellence is built in the micro decisions, the ones no one else sees, the ones that feel too small to matter, but they shape everything. Want a simple rule? When your alarm goes off, you get up. No negotiation, no delay, no internal debate, just movement. Because when you start your day with discipline, you carry that into your work, your relationships, your vision. You become someone who acts, not reacts, who creates, not copes, who leads, not follows. If you can win your morning, you can win your day. And if you can win enough days, you'll win your life. Your attention is the most valuable currency you have. More than time, more than money, more than energy. Because whatever you focus on grows. Focus on problems, you amplify stress. Focus on distractions, you leak power. But focus on purpose, and your entire life begins to align. Here's the truth. Most people don't lose to laziness. They lose to noise. They wake up with good intentions, but end the day wondering where all the hours went. Why? Because they never train their focus. They let the world hijack their attention. Notification by notification, tab by tab, crisis by crisis. But high performers, they treat their attention like a sacred asset. They don't check messages mid-creation. They don't let the outside world dictate what gets their energy. They decide, they defend. They protect because they know the ability to lock in is the new superpower. Want to build daily excellence? You have to stop multitasking like it's noble. It's not. It's a trap. Every time you switch between tasks, you force your brain to recalibrate. You burn fuel, you lose rhythm, and worst of all, you feel busy while going nowhere. That's why so many people feel exhausted even when they didn't really get anything done. Their focus, scattered. Their output, dull. Their energy, drained. But those who dominate, they go deep, they work in blocks. They train their mind to stay on one task for long enough to matter. No switching, no scrolling, no apologies, just pure presence. Start here. Create 90-minute deep work windows. Silence your phone. Shut down everything that doesn't serve the mission. Tell the world, I'm unavailable, because I'm becoming something most people never will. Because focus isn't just about getting things done. It's about honoring your mission. Distractions don't just waste time. They rob you of who you could have become. If you want to step into a higher level of performance, if you want to build a life of intention and excellence, then protect your focus like it's everything, because it is. Here's a harsh truth. Motivation is a liar. It shows up late. It leaves early. And it never stays when things get hard. That's why most people stay stuck. They wait to feel like it. They wait for the mood, the spark, the stars to align. But the people who win, they don't rely on feelings. They rely on discipline because discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline shows up every single day. Discipline is doing it, especially when you don't feel like it. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline gets you results. Most people misunderstand this. They think the successful are superhuman, always inspired, always on fire. No, they're just trained. They've built systems. They've removed emotion from decision. They've made the decision once and then live by it daily. No questions, no should I, no back and forth. It's done. You want to build discipline? Start by killing the negotiation. Because the moment you ask, should I go to the gym? You've already lost. The moment you think, maybe I'll start later, your mind starts searching for an excuse. But the elite, they don't ask. They act. They've trained the muscle. And that's exactly what discipline is. A muscle. And every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken it. But every time you follow through, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody's watching, you make that muscle stronger. Start with something small. Make your bed. Drink water first thing in the morning. Write 3 lines in your journal. Move your body for 10 minutes. It's not about the task. It's about building the identity of someone who follows through. Discipline isn't perfection. It's consistency, especially on the days you don't want to. Because that's where the gap lives, between who you are and who you could be. And the bridge across that gap isn't motivation, it's discipline. Let's be honest, starting is easy. Staying in the game, that's where most people fall. They get excited, they buy the planner, they commit to the routine, they feel unstoppable for about 3 days. Then life hits. Energy dips, distractions creep in. They miss a day, then another. And before they know it, they're back to zero. That's the pattern, and that's exactly why most people never reach excellence. Because excellence isn't about going hard once in a while, it's about showing up every damn day. The most dangerous mindset is, I'll just skip today, it won't matter, because it always matters. Here's the real truth. The highest performers in the world aren't the ones who give the most, occasionally. They're the ones who show up, even when they don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, even when the results aren't immediate. Because they understand, growth is not linear. Progress is invisible, until it isn't. You don't plant a seed and dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it. You trust the process. And one day, breakthrough. But if you quit early, if you expect magic on week one, you never reach the compounding effect that changes everything. Want the key to consistency? Remove the decision. Don't wake up and see how you feel. Don't ask yourself if today is a good day to follow through. Just act. Like brushing your teeth. You don't negotiate it. You don't wait for inspiration. You just do it. Because it's part of who you are. Make your habits non-negotiable. Not when it's convenient, not when it's easy, but always. And when the day comes, and it will, where you're tired, frustrated, unmotivated, you show up anyway. Even if it's not perfect. Even if it's just 10 minutes, even if you're not at your best. Because that's how you build momentum. And momentum is what builds results. Consistency beats intensity every time. Miss one day? Fine. Miss two? Dangerous. Miss three? You're rewriting your identity. So don't aim for perfect days. Aim for never quitting. Because that's the habit that separates those who rise from those who restart their lives every January. Let me give it to you straight. You don't get what you want. You get what you tolerate. That's the truth most people never want to hear. You can journal your goals. You can write down your vision board. You can say affirmations every morning. But if your standards are low, your results will match. Because life doesn't respond to your hopes. It responds to your standards. Your standards are the floor, not the ceiling, and you will never rise above what you're willing to accept. Look around. Most people lower their standards to fit their environment. They adapt. They blend in. If the people around them cut corners, they do too. If their friends procrastinate, they call it normal. If their workplace is lazy, they just try to survive the day. But excellence has nothing to do with what's around you. It's about what you demand from yourself, no matter what anyone else is doing. It's about refusing to accept anything less than your best, even when no one's watching, even when no one claps, especially then. Want to raise your life? Raise your standards. If your standard is to do the bare minimum, you will. If your standard is to only act when it's easy, you'll stay inconsistent. But if your standard is non-negotiable effort, regardless of mood, time, or weather, you'll separate yourself from 99% of people. Here's the mistake most people make. They let their emotions dictate their standards. They say, I'll give more when I feel more. I'll show up stronger once results appear. But that's backwards. Excellence is built when it's hardest to show up. That's when it counts. That's when your identity is forged. Want to change your life? Decide what your non-negotiables are. If you're committed to health, skipping workouts is not an option. If you're committed to growth, distractions aren't tolerated. If you're committed to mastery, showing up halfway is unacceptable. And once those standards are set, defend them ruthlessly. Because every time you bend your own rules, you teach yourself that your word is optional. But every time you follow through, you reinforce the identity of someone who can be trusted, even by yourself. Discipline is doing the right thing, even when no one would know if you didn't. Want a shortcut to higher standards? Change your environment. If you spend time around average effort, you will start to believe that average is enough. But if you surround yourself with people who demand more from themselves and from you, you'll rise without force. Because excellence is contagious. So ask yourself, what do I tolerate? What excuses am I still accepting? What part of me is afraid to raise the bar? Because once you commit to holding the line, you'll stop chasing validation and start building a life that speaks for itself. Here's something no one wants to admit. You already know what to do, you're just not doing it. You've read the books, heard the podcasts, watched the videos, saved the quotes, but none of it matters if you're still hesitating. Hesitation kills momentum, and momentum is everything. The people who win in life aren't the smartest. They're the ones who act fast. Most people overthink themselves into failure. They wait, they overanalyze, they second guess. And while they're still making a plan, someone else already built the thing. While they're wondering if it's the right time, someone else already launched, already posted, already pivoted, already moved. Speed is power. Because the longer you wait, the louder fear gets. The longer you hesitate, the harder it is to start. You've felt it. You know you need to make the call. You know you should have the conversation. You know you should hit publish, go to the gym, apply for the opportunity, start the business. but you stall. And in that stall, you lose trust in yourself. So how do you fix it? You train decisiveness, like a skill, like a muscle, the same way you train discipline, the same way you train strength. You practice acting before you're ready. You practice starting before you feel confident. Because confidence doesn't come before action, it comes after. You don't need more time, you need less hesitation. Here's a simple tool, the 5-second rule. The moment you know what needs to be done, count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. Make the call. Send the message. Stand up. Walk out the door. Start writing. Speak up. Before your brain talks you out of it. Before fear finds the mic. Before perfectionism kills progress. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need the full plan. You don't need to see the finish line. You just need to move. Because once you move, everything gets easier. Discipline gets easier. Focus gets sharper. Energy comes back. Momentum builds. And suddenly, you feel alive again. Because action, not thought, is what rewires your identity. You become someone who follows through. Not tomorrow. Not when I feel ready. Now. Let's finish with the trait that separates the elite from everyone else. Mental toughness. Not talent. Not charisma, not opportunity, resilience. Because no matter how smart you are, how hard you work, how dialed in your habits are, life will test you. You'll hit walls, you'll face rejection, you'll lose people, you'll fall short. And when that happens, and it will, you'll either break or bend and rise stronger. Toughness isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do in spite of how you feel. The truth? Most people are soft. They fold at the first sign of resistance. They quit when it gets uncomfortable. They crumble when results don't come fast enough. But you're different. You don't need a perfect path. You just need the will to keep moving. That's what mental toughness is. Alizar, showing up when you're tired. Kip's training when you're uninspired. Staying locked in when your emotions scream quit. Looking the hard right over the easy wrong. Because real growth doesn't happen in comfort. It's forged in the fire. It's built in the days when everything in you says no, and you still say yes. Want to build it? You can't just talk about it. You have to do hard things, on purpose. Wake up earlier than you want to. Push your body when your mind wants to stop. Conversation you've been avoiding. Do the thing that scares you. Every time you walk toward discomfort, you rewire your mind. You prove to yourself, I'm not made of excuses. I'm made of grit. Pain doesn't break you. It builds you, if you let it. Mental toughness isn't built in big heroic moments. It's built in the small, boring, difficult choices that most people never make. The alarm you don't ignore, the workout you don't skip, the plan you don't abandon, the standard you don't lower. That's what makes you unshakable. Because life will never stop being hard. But you can become harder to break. And when that happens, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. So now you know. You don't need more time. You don't need another course. You don't need a new strategy. You need a decision. Because every single day, you're either reinforcing the habits of mediocrity or training yourself for greatness. There is no in between. You're either making excuses or making progress. You're either negotiating with weakness or locking in on discipline. You're either lowering your standards or becoming the one who sets them. Excellence isn't something you chase. It's something you become. One habit at a time, one choice at a time, one day at a time. And the most powerful part, no one has to give you permission. You don't need to wait. You don't need to feel ready. The moment you decide to live at a higher level, everything changes. You stop chasing success. You start attracting it. You stop reacting to life. You start shaping it. You stop waiting for momentum. You become it. So here's the question you have to answer right now. Before the next video, before you scroll away, before you forget this feeling, will you choose excellence? Not just today, but every day? Because success isn't what you do once, it's what you do when no one's clapping, no one's watching, no one's handing out trophies. It's how you wake up, how you think, how you act, how you hold the line. When it would be so easy to let go. This is your moment. This is the line. And once you cross it, you'll never go back.